What is up, everybody? Superverse TV here today. So I just got done doing a video about the Phil Spencer response to the Starfield delay. Apparently, David Jaffe chimed in on the situation. I did not see this, so this is getting even more spicier. This is kind of crazy. So, God of War creator slams Xbox boss response to Bethesda delays because Phil Spencer did like a PR. He did like a basic like PR template response to the situation, saying they're gonna try their best. They're listening to feedback. We're gonna do better and deliver you more Xbox content consistently. So the same PR statement we have heard before, but David Jaffe had some words he had to be shared about the situation about Phil Spencer's title. So let's see what went down right here. Jaffe, who worked on the first couple of God of War games along with Twisted Metal franchise. Also, I forgot to mention, this is from PureXbox.com if you want to see where this was at. Feel free to read it for yourself. But, what did it say? He worked on the first few couple of God of War games along with Twisted Metal franchise. Took aim specifically at Phil Spencer's statement in which the Xbox boss noted that delivering quality and consistency is expected and will continue to work better to meet those expectations. Then this is what I guess David Jaffe said on his podcast. He said, "You suck, Phil Spencer. You are me. When I was 28, I knew I could design. I knew I would have commercial ideas. At least at that time, my brain was directly plugged into the zeitgeist. It took me all of 7, 8, 9 months to realize I could not produce a game at all, let alone a game I was directing. It allowed me to realize there are things we're good at and even great at, things we're not." Go get some therapy, Phil Spencer. Get some therapy. What? You're not good at this part. You're just not. You don't get to be that guy. Dude, this is not a one-off. So he says, "Do not fire Phil Spencer. Phil Spencer is a visionary. I love his vision for Game Pass, and if someone can get the man out of his own way, he could be the tip of sword. He could be the tip of the sword, leading an absolutely wonderful for gamers. A wonderful game for gamers. I don't know. Wonderful. Apparently, it's a word missing right here, but wonderful for gamers and the art form. Disruptive movement, but if he can't get out of his own way and hire someone who knows how to manage development, you're this close, Phil Spencer. Your plan is sound. Your infrastructure when it comes to these studios is sound, is great, but you can't manage, you just can't do it." So he says Phil Spencer can't manage these studios, which is, a lot of people have been saying that. This guy can't manage studios. It's like, what's going on? Because even with the whole Perfect Dark situation, it's like, what happened with that? I don't know. A lot of people are giving Phil Spencer a lot of backlash about about these delays. Yeah, but mainly just games being delayed and their release dates from coming out. So interesting. This guy's even a guy who was in the industry is even speaking out against Phil Spencer's leadership. So let's see what people got to say about this. With Phil, the high up in the management, he isn't producing games or project management. It's about the people he has below him. So like many, I'm disappointed when Xbox have a serious look at the structure/process and figure out how to improve this is a bit of a overreaction. Okay, so he's just saying he's overreacting. David Jaffe's overreacting to this stuff right here. I have to agree with this guy. That's because I already despise Phil and his hypocrisy and have mentioned it many times before. But this is absolutely uncalled for, and a man in his position should not be saying those things on Twitter. Just during a more constant where nonsense to be spread. He should just keep quiet and make sure God of War Ragnarok releases on time. Otherwise, he's going to look like AD. Wait, what? They do know that David Jaffe doesn't work for Sony anymore, right? He's not behind God of War Ragnarok, so okay. And he's spot on. This is why I was saying Phil Spencer is a great figurehead. He comes across as relatable and having a genuine love for gaming. Does anybody here really honestly think he comes across as somebody who can be savage when making decisions to do the hiring and firing and managing the right team for the job? You can't be everybody's friend. You have to not only have the ability to recognize something not working, you have to be capable of doing something about it. Okay. Yeah, that's really unprofessional. I don't like Spencer because of how slimy and hypocritical he is, but wouldn't dream of acting like this if I worked in the industry. I can't agree that he is saying, and it's embarrassing to buy all these studios and not even be able to get one game out in a year. Yeah, that is kind of crazy. They got over 30 studios, but not too many games are coming out. Like, what's going on with that? Matt Booty, head of Xbox Studios, needs to be looked at as he is doing a very poor job at managing the studios. So I guess if they're not going to blame Phil Spencer, the next to blame is Matt Booty, which is a crazy last name, Booty. But yeah, if he's the head of Xbox Studios, it's like, where are these Xbox games at, bro? Where are the games at? It's like, wow. This is pretty OTT even for Jaffe, who to be fair has been very complimentary about Xbox Game Pass this generation, but pretty scathing about Xbox leadership. I wouldn't go anything like this far, but I do think they have an ongoing problem. 45 new games on the new console in 18 months is not a good return on all their studios and investment, especially with the next few months looking pretty barren right now. What is OTT? Let me know in the comments. What does that mean? I'm trying to think, like, I don't know, over the top? Maybe that is over the top. Yeah, I think that's what it is. Don't need for the over the top sensationalist and personal attacks. Okay. Is that the guy that Sony fired because he said he was impossible to work with and has been spending his days insulting people on the internet ever since? He is correct. I'm sorry, no fanboy glasses here. He is correct. Xbox's number one problem for many years has been inability to get games on the market, and it's gotten ridiculous. Honestly, while he may have worded things abrasively, 100% agree with him. Phil is too passive when it comes to managing studios. He's a great director of brands, but not suited to manage games. Okay. That guy's only doing it for his YouTube channel. He is known to stir up console wars. Phil Spencer isn't really the one to blame for this. Xbox Game Studios has its own leadership. Head of Xbox Game Studios, Matt Booty. And it's quite obvious. Okay, so if you're not going to blame Phil, it seems like you should blame this Matt Booty guy then, apparently. Like, we're not gonna blame Phil, then blame Matt Booty. Then go get some therapy. As someone who has provided therapy, it sickens me to see mental health get thrown around like this. Yeah, I don't know what therapy. Yeah, like what this guy says. What does therapy have to do with management? I don't know what that got to do with the other, but okay. And this is very incendiary to scold a manager who has just been given 2 extra publishers and another half dozen studios for what could turn out to be tethering problems. Curious how Jaffe addressed Nintendo of America and Jim Ryan for their behavior lately. Because honestly, between delayed games and trending of staff's right and lies, the latter is a more scandal-worthy. Yeah, they have both and have been in the news lately. Nintendo of America about how they're treating their employees. I guess Jim Ryan because his stance on abortion, which I guess I don't. Not a political channel here, but I guess people were not too happy about Jim Ryan's recent quotes about abortion and stuff like that. So yeah, let's see. It would make him head of Xbox or manager. He's not a producer or project manager. Those are specific jobs. Now I might have issues with how Xbox are managing their studios / producing their games, and I do think while they worked hard to build a non-toxic and positive workplace, that they now need to also look at process of certain people might need to be moved around. Yeah. I watched the David Jaffe podcast when he said this. I agree with him. Phil Spencer can't do management. Microsoft are terrible at managing talents, developers, studios, etc. Jeez. Big fan of Jaffe. He has a point, but personally, I would direct his issue at Matt Booty more than Phil Spencer. And if Matt Booty cannot fix it, then Phil needs to find someone else who can. So he said, get his booty guy the boot. Jeez. They want this guy gone. I mean, it's kind of crazy because it's like I don't know if this is like an extreme now because like I said last year they had a huge consistency of games last year, but it's just like completely fell off a cliff with the consistency. So I don't know if that's like a exaggeration or just needs to happen, but they really want that Matt Booty guy gone at this point. Phil is paid the big money and holds the top position. He's not responsible for every decision made by lower members of staff, but he is accountable for the success of the gaming division and therefore responsible for when that division fails. I disagree with the way this has been presented, but it's a good point of conversation. Okay. Jaffe is an ass anyway. Okay. Guy sounds bipolar. He is the one that needs some therapy. This is referring to Jaffe. Jaffe is crude as usual, but crude or not, something is wrong. Messaging matters. If there was any doubt in anyone's mind that Starfield Redfall would have given the window or literally an exact date, then why give one? Yeah, kind of true. Yeah, so I think it's a good point to conclude it. It's like, should we really be blaming Phil Spencer about this whole ordeal? And it's kind of like it's mainly sure we talk about Phil Spencer because he's the head of all Xbox, but it's mainly on I guess Matt Booty. I guess he's the head of the studio, so It's mainly on him. If it's gonna be mad at anybody, it should be mad at him. Because kind of like, if you see this studio, the Bethesda studios are having problems, and you should move another studio up, or they should have their game. It's just wild right now. There's just no games this year. That's the main concern. There's like no games coming out this year for Xbox first party, and people are disappointed about that. So this was Jaffe's response, which is pretty interesting. He told the guy to he told Phil Spencer to get therapy, which I have no idea what therapy has to do with getting his games out, but okay. So definitely want to see your thoughts down below about this. Leave a like for this video. As always, thanks for watching, and peace.